Hi.
Hi.
What's your name?
Reina. Reina.
Reina. Oh, nice. How do you spell it?
Reina.
Right. Good.
How are you?
Very good.
So my question for you
Mm-hmm.
is regarding the dark side of humanity, how we struggle with addiction and depression, and how some of us are blessed and lucky enough to find the light, maybe through our spiritual practice, and maybe how you might suggest to those who are still really sick and suffering with these type of challenges, how they might be guided that way.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Do you know about my history?
I do,
Yeah.
which is why I asked. And I read your book, and you were quite open at different retreats I attended and so on.
Yeah. I think there's a very beautiful aspect to the kind of longing that drives someone so deeply into addiction. The dark side of it is that the personality hasn't been shaped in a way that gives them the hope that their longing can ever be actually achieved. So they just crumble, you know. And with addiction, you gotta stop. I mean, there's no curing until you stop. And then you can start to deal with the issues. Then you start to get a vote again. When you're totally addicted, you've given up your vote. You haven't registered to vote, and when the vote comes, you're not there. So somehow you have to stop. I mean, I had a friend who died from shooting speedballs, and afterwards, we talked about it. She had isolated herself and turned people against each other, all her friends, so that they wouldn't talk about her. And I thought, what would happen? The only thing I could have done, we kidnap her, put her into a room till she got over the physical part of it. And then, okay, now you have a vote. What are you going to do? But it's so much more than that. It's so deep, It's not just the physical. Once you've opened that doorway, it's very hard not to go through that door. So, for someone who is addicted, you can just love them and just hope they get through it. There's really not much you can do.
So love them until they can love themselves, if they can.
Yes, for sure. They have to they have to recognize the suffering that they're in, and they have to recognize the suffering they're causing others. It's a very selfish act. Addiction, very selfish, And you can't make a person understand that, especially when they're totally strong. And the other side of it is that those of us who have a vote, we have to use that vote to help ourselves. We cannot allow the suffering of another person to destroy us. That's not in any way, shape, or form useful.
Right.
Nor is it helpful for that person. There might be a time when that person comes around and needs help, and we won't be there.
Yeah, I understand.
So there's It's all suffering here. It's just a question of what kind. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less, but it's the nature of this world. Is everything is burning. The Buddha gave a sermon. The first sermon he gave, I think, was called the Fire Sermon. And he said, "Oh monks, the eyes are on fire with seeing. The ears are on fire with hearing. The tongue is on fire with taste. The skin is on fire with touch. And the mind is on fire with whatever." We don't see it that way. We think this is life, this is great. But we don't recognize that even what we experience as daily life, normal life, is already a level of suffering that's inconceivable. So let's try to recognize that in ourselves and work with that and get our own hearts really strong and clear. That's the best we can do thing for anyone and everyone, is to get ourselves free. And free. The freer you are, everyone you come into contact with has a chance to open up into that. And a lot of times people are caught in a kind of a codependent kind of thing, and they're trying to hurt the other person by being addicted themselves. And if you allow that to go on, then you're continuing, allowing that game to continue. If you free yourself of your part in that codependency, you allow that person, you might create a situation where that person can get over it also. So it always comes down to taking care of ourselves first. But ourselves ultimately concerns everyone and includes everyone. But still, when you eat, you don't put the food in somebody else's mouth. You put it in your mouth. That's what we do. So we have to kind of get that kind of strength where even if a person is trying to hurt us, they're only doing that out of their own pain. It's not aimed at us, it's projected by their own pain. They don't know who we are, even if it's your own child. They don't know who you are. They only have their version of you, which they're trying to hurt. And if you buy into that again and again, it empowers that thing in them too. So the freer you become of that of the unconscious part of that relationship, the more you allow a possibility of real change. Who knows who we've been to each other? Who knows? You know, there's an incredible story about Kashyapa, Mahakashyapa, one of the great original disciples of the Buddha. I mean, these guys were beyond, you know? So he comes out of the jungle once to beg for food, and one of his disciples is with him. And they walk up to this village, and this great arhat breaks out laughing. And the disciple says, "Oh, great one, you know, an arhat doesn't laugh with no cause. What is the cause of this laughter?" And he said, "Look at this scene." And it was a beautiful pastoral scene. There was a little hut. There was a beautiful woman nursing a baby, eating a piece of meat, and there was a dog that she was kind of trying to keep away from the meat. He said, "Look at that beautiful scene. She's nursing her enemy, eating her ex-husband and kicking her you know." So people keep going around and around together, and they keep trying to pay off their debts, and, you know, back and forth. And if we're reacting to those things, it's like pushing a swing again. So you have to get strong in your openness, not in closeness, and let it go through you. Don't let it catch on to anything. Let it be as it is. Wish yourself well, wish everybody well, but then notice where you get caught. And then wish yourself well and let that go. That's all we can do. That's the best we can do. There's a lot we can do, but that's where we start, I think.
Thank you.
Okay.
You're very wise.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful.
Tell me again.
You're wise and beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
And I love to
What'd
see
you
you
say?
smile now. Satnam. Thank you.
Okay.
Radhe, 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 Shyam, Govinda, Radhe, Jai Shri Radhe. Radhe 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 Shyam Govinda Radhe Jai Shri Radhe.
Radhe 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 Shyam Govinda Radhe Jai Shri Radhe.
Govinda Radhe Radhe Shyam Gopal Radhe 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 Radhe.
Jai Radhe 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 Shyam Govinda Radhe Jai Shri Radhe.
Radhe 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 Shyam Govinda Radhe Jai Shri Radhe.
Jai Radhe 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 Shyam Govinda Radhe Jai Shri Radhe. Jai Radhe
Radhe Radhe Shyam Govinda Radhe Jai Shri Radhe.
Govinda Radhe Radhe Shyam Gopal Radhe 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 Radhe.
Jai Radhe 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 Shyam Govinda Radhe Jai Shri Radhe. Radhe Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Shyam Govinda Radhe Jai Shri Radhe.
Jai Radhe 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 Shyam Govinda Radhe Jai Shri Radhe.
Radhe 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 Shyam Govinda Radhe Jai Shri Radhe.
Govinda Radhe Radhe Shyam Gopal Radhe Radhe.
Govinda Radhe Radhe Shyam Gopal Radhe Radhe.
Jai Govinda Radhe Radhe Shyam Gopal Radhe Radhe.
Govinda Radhe Radhe Shyam Gopal Radhe Radhe.
Jai Radhe 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 Shyam Govinda Radhe Jai Shri Radhe.
Radhe 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 Shyam Govinda Radhe Jai Shri Radhe.
Jai Radhe 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 Shyam Gopal Radhe Jai Shri Radhe.
Radhe 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 Shyam Govinda Radhe Jai Shri Radhe.
Hey Govinda Radhe Radhe Shyam Gopal Radhe Radhe.
Govinda Radhe Radhe Shyam Gopal Radhe Radhe.
Hey Govinda Radhe Radhe Shyam Gopal Radhe Radhe.
Govinda Radhe Radhe Shyam Gopal Radhe Radhe.
Radhe 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 Shyam Govinda Radhe Jai Shri Radhe.
Radhe 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 Shyam Govinda Radhe Jai Shri Radhe.
Jai Radhe 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 Shyam Govinda Radhe Jai Shri Radhe.
Radhe 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 Shyam Govinda Radhe Jai Shri Radhe.
Radhe. Radhe 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 Shyam Govinda Radhe Jai Shri Radhe.
Radhe 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 Shyam Govinda Radhe Jai Shri Radhe.
Jai Radhe 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 Shyam Govinda Radhe Jai Shri Radhe. Jai Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Shyam Govinda Radhe Jai Shri Radhe.
Govinda Radhe Radhe Shyam Gopal Radhe 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 Radhe.
Jai Radhe 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 Shyam Govinda Radhe Jai Shri Radhe. Radhe Shyam Govinda Radhe Jai Shri Radhe Jai Radhe Hey Govinda Radhe Radhe Shyam Gopal Radhe Radhe Hey Govinda Radhe Radhe Shyam Gopal Radhe Radhe Hey Radhe 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 Shyam Gopal Radhe 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 Shyam Govinda Radhe Jai Shri Radhe 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 Govinda Radhe Radhe Shyam Gopal Radhe Radhe Govinda Radhe Radhe Shyam Gopal Radhe 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 Shyam Govinda Radhe Jai Shri Radhe 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 Shyam Govinda Radhe Jai Shri Radhe Hey Govinda Radhe Radhe Shyam Gopal Radhe Radhe Hey Govinda Radhe Radhe Shyam Gopal Radhe Radhe Hey Govinda Radhe Radhe Shyam Gopal Radhe 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 Shyam Govinda Radhe Jai Radhe 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 Shyam Govinda Radhe Jai Radhe Jai Radhe 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 Shyam Radhe Jai Radhe Govinda Radhe Radhe Shyam Gopal Radhe Radhe Hey Govinda Radhe Radhe Shyam Gopal Radhe Radhe Govinda Radhe Radhe Shyam Gopal Radhe Radhe Hey Govinda Radhe Radhe Shyam Gopal Radhe Radhe Govinda Radhe Radhe Shyam Gopal Radhe Radhe Govinda Radhe Radhe Shyam Gopal Radhe 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 Shyam Govinda Radhe Jai Shri Radhe 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 Shyam Govinda Radhe Jai Shri Radhe 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 Shyam Govinda Radhe Radhe Shyam Gopal Radhe Radhe Hey Govinda Radhe Radhe Shyam Gopal Radhe Radhe Hey Radhe 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 Shyam Govinda Radhe Jai Shri Radhe Hey Radhe 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 Shyam Govinda Radhe Jai Shri Radhe 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 Shyam Govinda Radhe Jai Shri Radhe 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 Shyam Govinda Radhe Jai Radhe Hey Radhe 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 Shyam Govinda Radhe Jai Shri Radhe Radhe Shyam
Okay, so I have a basic question about romantic love and unconditional love. If unconditional love is sort of the whole answer to
Everything.
everything, right? You know, freedom from suffering, liberation, all that kind of stuff. There's a couple things about romantic love or desire that seem inherently problematic. There's the whole
Like, they don't work. But next.
okay,
Yeah,
so is that really just it then? Because the
It's not meant to work. Pleasure is not supposed to be forever, nor is pain. Romantic love is very much based on pleasure, getting something from someone, giving something back. There's two things involved, two people or more or something like that, you know. But it's a finite thing from one person to another. When I was very much in love with this woman once, I was telling my Indian father about this, and he said to me, my boy, he said, relationships are business. Do your business, enjoy. He said, do your business. Be a human being and enjoy it. Enjoy. But love, he said, love lasts 24 hours a day, every day, since the beginning of time. Love is who we are. It's not between people. It's who we are. Now, because we don't know what that is being born in the West, unconditional love, or the love that isn't love of an object or desire for an object, we try to substitute with other things, like we've been taught to do since day one in this culture, in this world. And the only problem is it doesn't work. But it's not supposed to work. And if you don't expect it to work in a way that it's not meant to, you can be very happy. But it's the expectations that we have for romantic love that are unreasonable. How can somebody be who you want them to be when they already are who they are? You don't see the person who they are. You don't see all of them. You only see the part that you want. And then you force that person to give you what you want, to show you the shape you need to see.
right, we've talked about it as a sort of a tit for tat kind of thing, a negotiation.
Business.
Yeah.
And it's fine. That's what human beings do. That's what we all do. And it's fine as long as you know you're playing the game. When you forget that you're playing the game or doing business and expect it to give eternal happiness, there's bound to be problems.
So perhaps then, just to put it succinctly, that I can understand it, that I can understand it. Basically, that desire by nature is fleeting, including that of sexual desire.
No, desire is
romantic
almost
desire.
never. It doesn't go away.
It's insatiable.
It's insatiable. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the nature of desire. You can never satisfy. It goes from one to the other. So that's why the Buddha said all suffering comes from craving.
Right.
Give up craving. Give up. You want it.
So should we all be nuns and monks?
No. We should keep grabbing everything we can until we're just tired of it. And then you grab, but you don't expect it to be anything but that.
Okay.
But then other things can happen. If you're not expecting somebody to provide certain things, then you can kind of see the person for who they are. And a whole different level of intimacy can open up in there.
Well, that leads to my next question is, what if you're not attracted to someone, but they treat you well?
Take them for all you can get. Obviously.
And what if you're the object of a lot of attraction, meaning that you attract a lot of elements, like a lot of sexual energy? For example, a problem that I've had is that a lot of people seem to say I have a lot of Shakti, or they have, some version of that, or whatever that means to people. I don't know. I think it varies. And I just think I get a lot of unwanted attention and not a lot of attention about what's beneath the surface. And I don't know if there's any way that I can transform that, or it's just sort of, case-by-case basis.
Other people's business is other people's business. It's the same for me. I sit there and people project onto me. They can do that. That's okay. I don't mind. I don't identify with that because I went through a lot of stuff about that, and finally I broke through into a place where I no longer, it's just kind of like rainwater off of me. It doesn't, by Maharaji's grace. So you have to find who you are in a deeper way to yourself. And then the effect of how other people see you, whether it's positive or negative, it won't push those buttons. It won't be something that's pleasurable or painful or desirable or undesirable. But it has to do with how you see yourself as well.
So
it's a question of going deeper yourself and finding out more about yourself, who you are, and what's in there. And then it becomes irrelevant what people project onto us.
So is the desire for relationship, which exists, meaning that, you know, I still have, this is the earlier part of the question, I still have a desire to be in a relationship,
Sure.
hopefully a partnership. Is that, you know, how does that then square with this business of...
As long as you don't expect it to make you happy, it should be great.
Right.
How can we help but do that, right? That's the predicament, that we're programmed with that romance thing. And we want to fall in that love that we never fall out of. So that after you've fallen in the love that you never fall out of 300 or 400 times, you know, you kind of get over trying to make that happen, or even to look for that. And then you can begin to have a relationship that's based on some kind of reality.
With yourself.
No, with another person, of course.
Okay.
But you can't you can't be with another person more than you can be with yourself, or less. As much as you can be with yourself, and the quieter you are inside, the more you can be available to another human being. The more available you really are to yourself. So one has to work through different issues that they have that are propelling us and our minds and our stories that we tell ourselves about ourselves. One has to clean that stuff up. If one wants to meet another person, there's no room in there for anybody. You know, if you want to invite somebody into your home, you have to clean it up a little bit. Otherwise, there's no place for them to sit. So the issues that you're seeing on the outside are really on the inside. If there is an inside and outside. They're your issues. They're not the issues of other people. And if you recognize that, then you can start to work with them in a new way by accepting yourself as you are, with all the stuff, and then giving it space and letting go of the stuff that keeps arising that causes you suffering inside. And you get into deeper aspects of longing, you know. I always saw myself as one of these Tibetan yogis with his hot shakti on his lap, all this stuff, right? I thought it was, wow, that's where it's at, Yeah. And then I read somewhere that this other sect of Tibetans kind of feel bad for those guys because they need a shakti to get into that bliss. It totally twisted my mind around, because I always thought, wow, that's the thing. And then these guys feel sorry for those guys because they need somebody on their lap in order to get it. It turns out it's not quite that black and white, but the idea was that I wheeled around. So, relationships are hard work, and I think they're the best work that we can do as human beings. Because first of all, we're in relationship to everyone and everything.
Right.
The kind of relationship you're talking about, you really get down to the nitty-gritty, It's not easy. It's not easy to surrender to how much stuff we're carrying, But once you do, it all changes, because you see that the world will respond to you differently. It'll just happen differently, naturally, as you see yourself differently.
That makes a lot of sense. I appreciate that, because I think that even some of the choices I've made within the last year or so, since my practice has intensified a lot, has borne a fruit which is more pared down, right? Like you said, you get quieter, you get simpler. There's not as much chaos. There's not as much stuff going on, and in that sort of restraint, for lack of a better word, there is a little bit more, for me anyway, discerning. In terms of
recognition of the way things are, not the way we imagine they can be.
Yeah,
that's the hard part.
And acceptance of that.
It's hard. It's very hard, because there's an aloneness that we have. It's not a loneliness, but it's an aloneness, and it's all the time. You were born alone. You eat your food alone, you go to sleep alone, you're going to die alone. There's never another person in there with you except yourself, your true self. And the more we look outside, the less we're going to find what we're really looking for. Once you find it there, you find it everywhere all the time.
Okay, that I might hold you to.
Yeah. Let me know. I'll buy some.
Right, we can bottle it. We can drink to it.
That'd be great. Okay, I'll drink to that.
Sounds good. Thanks, Katie.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Sita Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Sita Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Sita Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Sita Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Sita Rama, Rama Rama. 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 Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Sita Rama, Rama Ram Ram Sita Ram. Ram Ram Sita Ram 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 Sita Ram Sita Ram Sita Ram 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 Sita Ram. Bolo Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Bolo Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Ram Ram Sita Ram 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 Sita Ram Sita Ram Sita Ram 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 Sita Ram. Sita Rama 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 Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Sita Rama 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 Hare Rama Ram Ram Sita Ram 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 Sita Ram Sita Ram Sita Ram 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 Sita Ram 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 Sita Ram 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 Sita Ram Sita Ram Sita Ram 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 Sita Ram 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 Sita Ram Sita Ram Bolo Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Bolo Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram 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 Sita Ram 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 Sita Ram Sita Ram Sita Ram 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 Sita Ram Sitaram, 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 Ram Ram, Sitaram, Ram Ram, Ram Ram, Sitaram, Sitaram, Ram Ram, Sitaram, Ram Ram, Sitaram, Ram Ram, Sitaram, 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 Ram Ram.